Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about how to use your cell phone as a camera monitor for your Sony DSLR camera. So when I first got my camera, I originally got it because I love photography. I wanted to get back into it after I had sold my Canon camera, and I'd heard some great things about the Sony lineup, so I really wanted to get a Sony, so I did, and it's great. It's been awesome. I love it. 10 out of 10, would recommend for photography. However, there is, with the Sony a6000, a problem, and it's not, if you're just doing photography, it's not a big deal, but if you're doing videos, especially like vlogging content or video content, there's a problem, and it's that the Sony a6000 doesn't have a flip around screen. That's a problem because if you don't see how you're framing, you're usually going to be all over the place with your camera. So what I originally did to solve this problem was I bought one of these dumb little mirror things, and I can't seem to find it right now, but I thought it was great. It was cool. I had a couple extra cold shoes, then whatever. But the more I used it, the more frustrations I had. First off, it was a mirror, so it was reversed, so that was annoying, and while it wasn't a huge problem, the bigger problem came in with the fact that now I couldn't access my hot shoe, which is a problem with the Sony a6000 because there's no headphone jack on it. So to get any audio directly into the camera, you have to go through the multi-interface hot shoe directly on the camera. And so I really wanted to do that because otherwise I had to worry about syncing audio, or worse, I had to use the built-in mic on the camera. So in my efforts to simplify my recording setup, what I did was I got this Sony lavalier microphone, and it was awesome. It's fantastic. I'm using it right now. And I got it mainly because I felt like I was going to get a little bit more use out of it. Plus you can plug in a 3.5 millimeter microphone into it like this. I got it going into a 3.5 millimeter, so that's great. But if I have the mirror, then I can't use the lavalier. And if I use the lavalier, then I can't use the mirror. So I'm kind of stuck between this whole situation of, do I frame my shots properly or do I have good audio? So I was perusing the web here lately, and I saw that iPadOS 17 finally supports external USB cameras. And I heard a while ago that Android phones supported external cameras, but I was never able to get it to work. But it looks like it just doesn't work inside their default camera apps like it does with the new iPadOS, which, disclaimer for you, it doesn't work for iPhones, but the app that I'm going to show you works for both Androids and iPhones. So I'm just going to be using an Android phone because that's what I have. But it does only work with Sony cameras wirelessly, but it'll work with other brands through the cable situation that we're going to talk about right now. But anyway, let's just jump right into it. So what you're going to need first to make this happen is a couple things. You will first need a USB capture card. Now I use this little USB-C capture card. It was like 20 or 30 bucks maybe. And then you'll also need an HDMI to micro HDMI. Unless you have a bigger camera, then you might need a mini or a full-size HDMI cable. Just check your camera, you can usually see which cable you need. The other thing you're going to want is a cold shoe adapter, assuming that you don't want to use the hot shoe on your actual camera. I have a camera, my camera's actually in a camera cage right now, and it's great. It adds holes all over the place, you can mount different things. It's also got a nice little wooden grip there, so I found that helped out a lot. Allows me to use the lavalier on my camera as well, so that problem's solved. Now, the app we're going to use is called Monitor Plus. Now, the Monitor Plus app will allow you to see the HDMI output of your camera, just like if you were connecting your DSLR camera to your computer for live streaming. Now, if you get the Pro version of the app, what you're going to get is you're going to get a whole bunch of other tools. You're going to be getting things like focus peaking, zebras, false color, right? You're going to be getting all these crazy histograms and everything like that. And I don't even know what they all do, but if you see these histograms and stuff and you get excited, then I'm happy for you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to connect the HDMI cable into the camera, and then you're going to plug in the HDMI capture card, and then you're going to plug in the USB-C end into your phone. And now if your phone doesn't have USB-C, you're smart. You can figure out what adapters you might need. Now the other thing you're going to want to check is make sure that your phone supports something called OTG, which stands for on the go. Now if your phone doesn't, then you're going to need an OTG adapter as well. Most phones nowadays, especially flagship phones, just have OTG built into them, so you don't really need to worry too much about that. But if you really want to check, head over to gsmarena.com, click your phone manufacturer here on the left side, find your phone model, go to COM, check under USB, and just make sure it says OTG. If it doesn't say that it supports OTG, then you're going to need an OTG adapter, and I'll link everything down below so you don't have to worry about it. Now, after you've connected it all together, what you're going to do is you're going to open up the Monitor Plus app. Now, if you have a newer Sony camera, then you can actually connect it wirelessly. You'll click the option that says connect via QR code. Then in your camera, you'll look under your network options for something called control with smartphone. That should pop up a QR code for you. Just scan that with the Monitor Plus app, and it's actually wireless. So that's cool. Now, if you have a little bit of an older Sony camera, like a Sony a6000, or maybe a different brand like a Canon or a Nikon, then you're gonna need the cable. So what you'll do is you'll plug in your USB capture card, and then from there, what'll happen is you'll see the connect option. So you'll connect your camera, and then you'll be good to go. And that's it. Honestly, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, I would recommend having some sort of a handle on this whole situation. I have this Mantis Pod Pro. It's great, it's awesome, I love it. It gives me a handle. But you can also use something like a Gorilla Pod or a gimbal, or if you just have a tripod head that can pop out and has a bit of a handle, it just helps you to not drop it. I found that it can get a little cumbersome, so it's nice to have something to hold on to. Plus, having something that you can connect your phone into the camera, like a phone clamp, or you can get MagSafe cold shoe rig if you have an iPhone, or a case with MagSafe. I'll link it all down below. Now, some of the pros of this are obviously much better to view. It's much better to view what's going on. Your recording locations are a lot more flexible. You get all of these extra tools like false color and focus peaking. You can use your Android phone, you can use an Android tablet, you can get an Android tablet for pretty cheap nowadays, like 50 bucks. So you're still gonna be money ahead over buying just a little 7-inch monitor. Now, some of the cons is that it just adds a lot of weight. And it's really just, with that, you increase the likelihood of you dropping your camera, and then add that on top of having your phone. And if you drop your camera and your phone, it can start getting expensive if you have an accident. But plus, if you have an older camera, you can't control it wirelessly, so you have all these ugly wires coming out, and so if you're going vlogging, it's not super low key. But for the price, I don't know that you can really beat it. I mean, cell phone cameras are great and they go a long way, but they make up for a lot of their shortcomings with just massively smart software. So really, at the end of the day, you can't really beat the quality of a good DSLR camera, and it boils down to everything. But again, this is a great way to go about adding functionality to your camera and getting more value out of your hefty investments in gear. You can also get more value out of your cell phone by using it as a powerful webcam for your content by checking out this video right here. So you guys go ahead and click like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys over there, okay?